Hello, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. Today, playing a little bit of Burn in Historic Best of 3. I'm going to talk briefly about the deck and then hop into a few games. If you just want to see gameplay, there are timestamps in the description as usual. So in Historic lately, I've been getting pretty annoyed with the state of things. It seems like every creature I put onto my side of the field gets immediately removed. There's so much spot removal, so many sweepers in the format. I just don't know what to do. So I started thinking about making a new deck, one that's going to be a little bit more resistant to the state of Historic, and this is what I came up with. So this deck is playing 4 copies of Colossus, Indestructible God. It's going to be really hard for the opponent to remove every turn, or at least my upkeep. It's going to be doing 2 damage to the opponent as long as there's stuff in the graveyard. Next, playing 3 copies of Azorius. Same thing, Indestructible God also has haste. Has a little bit of a condition. We have to have 1 card or fewer in our hand for it to be able to attack or block. Probably going to be able to meet that condition most of the time with this deck because we're going to be flinging spells and we're going to be empty by at least turn 4 or turn 5. Then Azorius has a pretty awesome ability that gives a little bit more reach to our deck. Next, playing 4 copies of Bone Crusher Giant. This is the most vulnerable creature in the main board, but I think it gets a pass because it is so impactful. First of all, it has Stomp, the adventure side, 2 damage to any target, and then when our opponent does try to remove it, Bone Crusher Giant is going to deal 2 damage to them as soon as it gets targeted. Overall, I think Bone Crusher Giant is a pretty good fit for this deck. The rest of the deck is all damage spells. We got Shocks, we got Play with Fire, a little bit of damage to face or to creatures if we need to do that. Then we have Skewer the Critics and Static Discharge. Both of these are dealing 3 damage, or in the case of Static Discharge, it's going to grow to 4, 5, and 6 damage if we are able to cast all 4 of them. And then Roiling Vortex, every upkeep is going to deal damage to whoever's turn it is. It is a symmetrical effect, but I think we'll be able to burn our opponent down fast enough that this is going to be more beneficial to our side of the field. In addition, it does have an awesome ability if they do go to cast something without paying mana cost. It's going to deal 5 damage to them, and we can turn off life gain with 1 red mana. Then light up the stage, 4 copies of that, just a lot of great value. And Electrostatic Blast. It's been a pretty impressive card. It just came out in Alchemy. Very, very happy with this. Also going to give us access to more fuel throughout the course of the game. As far as the lands are concerned, the only thing of note is Ramunap Ruins, 4 copies of this. I didn't put any of the Goblin Manland in here. I'm not sure if I want to go 1 or 2 copies with Den of the Bugbear, but we'll see for now. Over in the sideboard, a couple of copies of Curse of Shaken Faith, just in case we run into Phoenix decks. Cindervines, 4 of this. Going to bring this in against Jeskai Control or any other spell-heavy control decks. Anger of the Gods for those decks that go super wide with creatures. Rampaging Frostodon, another very vulnerable creature card, especially with 3 toughness, but players can't gain life. It's super important. Really need this to fight against the Heliod infinite life gain decks. And then finally, 2 copies of Torch of Defiance. Going to bring Chandra in against those grindy matchups. It just gives a lot of value. It can be really hard for the opponent to get off my side of the field. So that is the deck. Gonna try it out. Haven't practiced this one too much. It's kind of this quick little brainchild that I came up with yesterday. But hopefully it will work out. And hopefully we can beat down some control players. Jump into a few games. See you over there. All right. So, Burn, but a little bit of a different flavor. Hopefully, it's not too ambitious. I'm really hoping this deck works out. Obviously, I like Burn. It's one of my favorite archetypes, and there are a lot of different ways to build Burn. Come on. This is not a good way to introduce the deck. But yes, there are a lot of different ways to build Burn, going maybe more of a, passive damage route with only direct damage is pretty neat. Get rid of the creatures. However, I think I'm going to end up missing the creatures because I think the creatures are probably a pretty important part of Burn decks. And, well, okay, we're against Teamer. I don't know. Oh, you know what this is? This is 5-color Niv. That's what this is. Of course it is. I need to find a green source, please. Okay. Not a green source. There's a green source. Okay. So, kind of sucks that I'm going to be losing one of these, but at least I get a Colossus out next turn. And I don't know what... They have ways of exiling, but they only have ways of exiling monocolored cards. I don't think they have ways of dealing with multicolored cards. I think. Oh wait, So Cloth is onto the field. Gonna start dealing some damage, and hopefully the rest of these spells will get me there. But yeah, anyways, like I was saying, I hope this deck can do something. I really like the idea of it. And I have tried messing around with it in the past. It's never really played out, but it's a thing. Colossus, always very nice with these spectacle cards. And I'm going to hold up the Electrostatic Blast, throw it out at the end of their turn, and then that'll give me a little bit more firepower for the next turn. Hey, you know what card I hate? Lightning Helix. Outrageous card. Gaining 3 life. Yuck. Well, they found all of their triomes. That's pretty nutty. Let's get rid of the Lightning Helix. And the Skewer the Critics was pretty awesome off the top, because that means I have 3 mana to use whatever I find here. I could put out the Roiling Vortex. You know what? I like the Roiling Vortex because if they have another Lightning Helix, I can shut off their life gain. And they're dead in a couple of turns. Cool. That's how I want the deck to work. I hope it can do that for the next game too. Now, what am I going to be bringing in? Am I bringing in the Cinder Vines? Is it worth it? They do have quite a few spells. They do have quite a few spells. I don't know where to go from there. Yeah. I don't think the Shocks are going to be all that impactful. I also think the Bone Crusher Giants are going to be a little eh. Bring in one Chandra and try it like that. Let's see. I think I said in the intro just a little while ago that I haven't seen 5-color Niv in a while, or that might have been in the zombie video now that I'm thinking about it. I can't remember. I feel like 5-color Niv just fell off the map. I was seeing it everywhere. I couldn't get away from it a week ago, 2 weeks ago. And this is the first time I have actually seen 5-color Niv in, like I say, at least a week. It's a good opening hand. Let's try again. All right. All right. It's not great. It's really not great. I guess I get rid of the Skewer and hope to find like a play with fire for this light up the stage. If not, it's just going to be the turn 4 heroes. Well, Cinder Vines is maybe okay if I can peel a Stomping Ground off the top. Yeah. Hazoret, close to a Stomping Ground. It's you know, it shares a lot of similarities. Yeah, and a 5/5 for 2 is definitely reasonable. I can't actually remove the 5/5. Yeah. And on top of that, it does have an ability. They get to loot when the Kavu attacks because this card's not strong enough on its own. Blows my mind. World Tree. I haven't seen a World Tree in these decks ever before. So what do I do? I could put out the Chandra and it might bait something. Like, not bait. It might just encourage them to attack the Chandra. So at least 5 damage is going there. I think I'd prefer... Let's put out the Hazoret. And then hopefully work towards turning it on. It'll end up being a pretty good blocker, hopefully in a turn or two. But I have so many high value cards. All right, it's good. It's good that I got that Vanishing Verse out of the way because we do have the second Chandra. Yikes. Okay. They're finding some of their big stuff. A little bit of life gain. That's fun for me. Yeah. I actually don't even know if there's literally anything I can draw that would keep me in this game. No, I think it's just a concede, right? Yeah. Okie doke. Well, if they're going to be hitting all of their notes along the way, I don't know if there's really anything I can even do about that. I don't have any way of getting a Niv Mizzet out of the air. So this one might be a tough one overall. I do get to play first, though, and it's, you know what, it's a keepable hand. That's at least a start. But if they have another 5/5 on turn 2, what am I supposed to do about that? Is it possible to put out a 5/5 on turn 2? I guess they would need the perfect Triome and the perfect Shock land. Go turn 1 Triome, turn 2 Shock it in, and then it could be a 5/5. But I guess that would be like Christmas Happy Land. Yeah, why not? Next turn is going to be Klothys, and then Klothys will eventually lead into a Skewer, and then I can get Hazoret onto the field hopefully by turn 5 and start swinging in. Turn 4 is not going to happen. Gonna do everything that I can do. Hopefully it's enough. The good news is they're not doing anything. The bad news is I'm sure they're gearing up for something. Yeah. Yeah, we'll Skewer. Got to put something in the graveyard for Klothys. I think I'll just ease up on the play with fire. I would really like to be attacking with Hazoret next turn, but unless the top card on my library is a land, that's not really going to work out. So I might need to play with fire, sculpt the top of my deck with the Scry, and go from there. It's also very possible that they have another Vanishing Verse. It is a land. Yeah, okay, I'll leave it. I guess I could have fired off the Electrostatic Blast because I knew that I was not going to be casting any spells this turn. I definitely should have thrown out the Blast last turn. I think there's no question about that. All right, let's see if Hazoret can get in. I put Hazoret in the deck thinking, it's indestructible. How many things in the format can kill Hazoret? Immediately, as soon as it hits the field, it gets destroyed. Isn't that just the way it is? Oh, and they found a Lightning Helix. The Lightning Helix is absolutely miserable. And, wait, oh, they decide to go with the Deafening Clarion. It's much worse than the Lightning Helix. Yeah. Okay. So if I eat a land, I can actually cast the Electrostatic Blast and put out the Hazoret, and it, I have 6 mana. No, it's... But I can't kill them this turn. Like, no matter what I draw, I can't kill them. And I would have to preemptively do the Electrostatic Blast. So it doesn't really work with the Niv Mizzet, but them getting 6 life next turn is just really bad. But I can only get in for 5 at most. Like, it's just a really, really awkward position. I don't know what to do. I guess I just have to do it like that. Okay, I'm going to put out the Hazoret. There's no reason to attack because it just gets blocked by Niv Mizzet. They can gain 6 life, go up to 12. And then maybe if they're attacking in, the Hazoret can get in. They might be incentivized to leave the Niv Mizzet back, though, now, because... Alright. They did leave it back. Okay, discard the Klothys. And now they're in an awkward position where they have to block with the Niv Mizzet. They have to block, and then the Electrostatic Blast can maybe finish off the Niv Mizzet. If they have a counter spell, that's going to suck, but I think I have to remove Niv Mizzet. Oh, that was a... I saw it up there, I honestly thought the art was something different. I don't know what art I imagined. Definitely saw something different. So I guess it didn't matter what happened there. Still, they're in a weird spot. They have a hard time attacking in. They could. Ooh, Clothis is bad. Okay, no, this is fine. Right? No, it's not fine. No, I'm 1 damage off. Okay. So I will use Hazoret to ping them for 2, and then try to get them next turn. But still very precarious situation. Clothis was huge. So much life gain in this format. Like, everything gains life. The Cauldron Familiar and all the nonsense that they play in that deck. And Clothis, you know, I'm using Clothis, but it gains life because it does. I think they have to go with the Deafening Clarion here. They can put the Kavu in front of the Hazoret. It's not such a big deal. Yeah. They were feeling the same. Yeah, just tag lifelink onto everything. Shouldn't have had such a good time playing those zombies. I didn't realize that Wizards of the Coast would come after me and make sure I don't have any fun today. Really reeling me back in. Okay, same plan, just ping with Hazoret and try to find some kind of burn somewhere. They find another Deafening Clarion. I don't know if... Oh, Kavu. So they can get in again. They choose not to, though. Okay. It's not enough, right? I'm like 1 mana short. Everything's short. Just short. There's no attack. I gotta just hold the skewer. Now a Deafening Clarion would be very disastrous. At least it's turning into kind of a cool game. Thank goodness they didn't make me discard the skewer. Okay. Okay. I think I'm throwing out the ruins now. If they have another Lightning Helix, I'm gonna cry. That's the worst card to see. You son of... And a Hazoret. I don't want a Hazoret. I'm 1 damage off again. This is brutal. Absolutely brutal. And now... Unbelievable that they had just the perfect life gain to line up. That's what this deck does, though, right? They just have every above curve answer. Oh, I hate that. I'll rant in the next video, but I really hate that Historic has become that way. Just play every above curve card. It's a 10 out of 10 card jamming in the deck. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if there's cool synergy or theme to the deck. It just works. Oh, what are you? Okay, I just want to kill one of these Kavus. All right. Well, it's a shame that that's the way this video is going to start off, but I'm going to carry on and bounce back, I guess. I don't know. Next one. All right. I'll continue my descent into madness, I suppose, because that's kind of the way the game's been feeling lately. I don't like to complain, but yeah. I mean, this is kind of what the deck wants to be doing, right? Yeah, something about Magic feels real bad lately. Not Magic, Historic. Maybe Magic in general. I don't play any other formats, but I don't know how good Standard or Modern, any of these other formats are doing. Who knows? But it's Control City, and it's above curve cards .deck. You just play all the 10 out of 10 cards, the cards that are numerically awesome, and that's it. And that is the game that has been created. I'll try to drop the Colossus. Hopefully it lands. Maybe they don't want to counter it because there's nothing in the graveyard. They might feel incentivized just to let it go. But it'd be really nice if they could not use Thassa's Intervention. At least the opponent's playing something cool. Thassa's Intervention. Yeah. Cool, I don't know. But yeah, let's fire off a play with fire. I was going to do that to get something in the graveyard for Colossus, but that didn't end up happening. Still, I like the Scry. I'll put that out. I think I'm going to hold up the Electrostatic Blast for their end of turn and fire it off, and then try to get a little bit of extra value with the play with fire. Sure. I'm just going to do it now. Yeah. Yeah, I don't really know what to do. I don't know if I need to start playing. I don't want to start playing like Junk Food or any of these top, first tier S-class decks. I don't want to do that to myself. I'll put that out, and let's see if I can roll this Electrostatic Blast into something cool. Another Colossus. Hazoret would be kind of cool. Sure, there's Hazy. So I can't attack with the Hazoret this turn, but I will certainly put it onto the field. If they want to counter it, they counter it. It is what it is. Memory Deluge. Sure. So, Hazoret successfully lands on the field. It looks like the opponent's playing a little bit of a different, just straight Azorius control style deck. It's kind of neat. Again, reminder that I put Hazoret into the deck because Hazoret was supposed to be immune to the majority of my opponent's removal. Yeah, not so much, huh? Not so much. Light up the stage into a light up the stage. Sure. I mean, I don't hate that. Cool. You know what? I'll fire this off. Why not? Do it while I can. I do have this clue. I can crack this to draw a card. I am flooding out, so Oh, okay. I'm like, they could have censored that. I did have 1 mana open. Okay. Well, they need to find. Well, they even life gain. I do have the Roiling Vortex to turn off life gain. That's not something I was considering, but maybe I do need to consider it. They might have Absorbs. They have everybody's favorite superhero, Teferi. Which my friend and I were talking about Teferi earlier. I had asked. We were talking about Legends of Runeterra. I guess I'll get into the whole crux of the story. We were talking about Legends of Runeterra, and I had showed him the late. Oh, I should have done this because if I hit a Skewer the Critics, I'm gonna be real sad. It's not a Skewer. Okay. Let's get just Teffi off the field because. Go down to 3. I have a Colossus. I have the Ramanop Runes. Anyways, I was talking about the 3.0 patch for Legends of Runeterra. I showed it to him. I asked him what he thought. They nerfed or buffed like 15, 20 cards. It was a huge list of cards. And I asked him what he would think about if Magic did that.
Oh, I can breathe. I asked him what he would think if Magic did that. You know, you wake up and one day suddenly Teferi 5 is Teferi 6, for example. How would you feel about that situation? And he said he didn't know because he kind of feels that if Teferi 5 were deleted from existence, he would feel pretty okay with that. So any change to Teferi 5 would be okay in his books, and I tend to agree with him. And then I kind of recommended or suggested that maybe Teferi 5, the big problem with him is the untapping the 2 mana. So much can come from that 2 mana. He protects himself so well in the format, and there's some colors that are just never really going to get rid of a Teferi 5 once it gets resolved, and they have, you know, a couple of cards in their hand. It's really hard to remove them from the field. So yeah, I kind of, you know, we're just spitballing and things were going. I don't know what my point was. I had a point. Imagine that. Imagine this world. When did you see someone playing Leyline of Sanctity before? Right? Who plays Leyline of Sanctity? Seriously. And I switched to a deck. Like, I was playing zombies. Of course. I'm going to put it on the bottom because I need lands. I was playing zombies and I was running into main board Graveyard Hate. And now I'm running into Leyline of Sanctity when I switch to a deck that is not playing creatures and instead is direct damage burn. It's like it's like somebody's watching, you know, they got a camera up there and they're like, okay, cue him into the guy that's playing Leyline of Sanctity. He switched up his deck. Make sure he goes up against the guy playing Leyline of Sanctity. It's a sweet card. It's not played in the format at all. So good on Skymind for having that foresight. What was the other one? Was Yeheni's Expertise. Although there is definitely a resurgence of that card. I think there's a resurgence of that card going around. I have been running into nothing but Yeheni Expertise. As soon as I play my zombie deck, it was Yeheni's Expertise all over the place. They are all a bunch of 2 toughness creatures. Of course. Yeah, actually losing my mind. That's definitely what's happening. The cool thing is, I do have the cards in my deck that don't target. Clothis, Roiling Vortex. This Electrostatic Blast can go on a Shark, so it's not the worst situation. If I can get up to one of these Hazarats, cool things could happen then. I'm hopeful. I think this can work still. Let's get rid of this, of course. And let's see what is underneath the Light Up the Stage. More Light Up the Stage and cards that don't do anything. So I think it's going to be Roiling Vortex. Let's keep this fire going. And I think I will take 2 damage and I'll do another Spectacle. Okay, well, that's not... Again, it's not too bad. Hazaret's not going to be able to hit the field for probably at least 2 more turns. I don't like that. However, I'm pretty fine throwing Static Discharge at Teferi next turn. Leyline of Sanctity does not help Mr. Teferi. These Roiling Vortexes are starting to hurt, though. Even though Clothis is kind of protecting me, I'd prefer that not to be the situation. All right, let's try to remove Tef.
Stop that now.
I may as well go with the clean kill here. If they try to protect him, I can Electrostat or Skewer as well. Okay, yeah. So we'll be getting rid of Teffi. Okay. This could be going a lot worse than it actually is, so I should zip up and accept that, considering this situation, things are okay. I sure would like to get a hazard on the field and have it live, though. Maybe that's asking too much. Yeah, let's do it. And this allows me to hold up the Roiling Vortex life gain turn-off thing, which I haven't been considering, but at least I can now. Sure. What a weird game. I really wonder what the opponent has in hand. I feel like they could be doing things that are a little bit more impactful than what they're doing. Wow. Wow. Big wow. So I guess a land off the top is probably going to be the best for me. They put 2 to the bottom and consider... I don't know. What a strange game. At least I got 1 win under my belt with this weird burn deck. I got 1 more game in me. All right. 3rd and final match. So far, 5-color Niv into Azorius control. So pretty much par for the course. What video was it? It was the Goblin video. I didn't face any Jeskai control, and one of the commenters said, I don't know how to feel. No Jeskai control. Well, those hands were bad. Do I want to get rid of the Voidling? Yeah. Clothis. I kind of like Clothis plus Roiling Vortex a lot, actually. Maybe it's keeping that. Get rid of the low impact burn spells. Bone Crusher Giant might end up being pretty impactful. Yay. Maybe I should have looked at what my opponent was playing. I didn't see the Luris. I'm a little bit distracted. That could have meant any bunch of things, though. Having the play with fire might have been a good idea. 2 Ravenous Squirrels for the opponent. Sure. And another Clothis. Definitely didn't want to see that. I think I actually have to hit one of these squirrels with the Bone Crusher Giant. That hurts. That hurts a lot. That's like a best case scenario for the opponent. Ugh, talk about cards you hate. Okay. I'd write a ranting, angry essay about my hatred for Witch's Oven. What an obnoxiously bad card. Yeah. What was the mechanic recently? Could you imagine if they did like the blood mechanic like they did the food mechanic? I feel like the food mechanic was so pushed compared to a lot of the specialty mechanics that they've released over the last couple of major sets or whatever. I don't know. Food is just so... I mean, there's a whole archetype around food. Imagine a whole archetype around blood. It's not there yet. Maybe it's coming. Who knows? I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. I'm just rambling, ranting through pure frustration and anger. All right. I'm going to put out the Roiling Vortex, and it's probably a bad idea because... this Ravenous Squirrel is now... I can't do anything about it, and it's going to get completely out of my range in a minute. Yeah. It's a good card. If you're not playing black, Ravenous Squirrel is a pretty awesome threat. Especially with the amount of sacrifice this deck has. Yep. Makes sense. This is another card I haven't seen until today, but I've seen it a couple of times today going up against various food strategies. Yeah, it's a good card. A lot of great things in its spellbook. Good job, Wizards. Imagine any of these would be pretty awesome to get into your hand. Ugh. Can you tell that I'm a little bit slipping and that my ambition for this game is on the backswing? Is it obvious? I wonder. I just don't know what to do. Don't know what to play. Wonder, how's Gwent? Hey, Skewer. Not the worst card. It's not gonna help me do anything. It would have been nice last turn when the Ravenous Squirrel was a 3, although I don't think I would have been able to kill the Ravenous Squirrel then. I think they probably had something that they could have sacrificed. Awesome. Did you look at this hit? Imagine the top 4 cards of your library being lands. Or top 3, not top 4. Well, at least the enchantments are starting to wear them down a little bit, but I have a feeling I'm going to get OTK'd by this Ravenous Squirrel very soon. Not OTK'd, but you know what I mean. It's going to dome me for 13 is what I'm getting at. Oh, they found a Cauldron Familiar. Yay. Yeah. I can at least turn off the annoying cat's life gain. I'm actually not even sure if there's any reason. The opponent's kind of playing slowly. Maybe I should just give up? Because really, what's the point? There's nothing. They're going to be at effectively 6. I would need to draw 2 spells next turn, and they'd need to be both perfect. And even then, it'd be rough. So I don't think there's actually any way of me doing anything. I may as well just concede. I want to see what the top card is. I guess if I went Bone Crusher Giant, hit face, then chump block the Ravenous Squirrel next turn with the Bone Crusher Giant in some happy fairy tale land, maybe that could work. But then I wouldn't be able to hold up Roiling Vortex mana to turn off life gain. It is the Bone Crusher Giant. Imagine that. So I just have to put out the Bone Crusher Giant as itself, because being able to turn off life gain is actually way more important than dealing 2 damage with the stomp to the face. So Bone Crusher, yeah, okay. I mean, Bone Crusher was the out, actually. Well, that's cheating, opponent. That is... No! You're not allowed to have the 1 point of piece of removal in your deck. Alright. That's fine. Okay. Rampaging Frostodon, 100% coming in. And I think that's probably actually it. Yeah. I'm going to go down 1 Hazoret. I'll go down 1 Clothis. I don't think the Roiling Vortexes are super impactful in this game. Well, they're pretty good for turning off life. Maybe I'll leave 1 in. I'll get rid of 1 Skewer because it is sorcery speed. Although maybe it's a static discharge. Okay, we'll try that. Okay, that was a little rough. Actually, this whole experience has been kind of rough with this deck. I really had a lot of hope for this kind of weird burn strategy, but honestly, I think you just kind of need creatures. That's kind of the way I'm starting to feel. And it sucks because creatures are just not impactful enough in the format right now because of everything that murders them. Like Mortality Sphere. Out of nowhere. Do I want to murder the goose? Yes. I guess. They shocked it in. It seemed like it was a little bit important, so Yeah, let's get rid of it. It was important. All right. Rampaging Frosted onto the field. Hopefully it can get in some really nice damage. I love that it has Menace. Have to be aware that I do have an Electrostatic Blast ability over on the side. Nice. So let's get in with the Ferostodon. This brings up a question since the opponent is roping. How important is winning to you in Magic the Gathering? When you play, do you have to win? Is that a requirement for you? Do you just feel bad when you're on the back end of games or when you're on a bit of a losing streak? I really wonder. I always like to believe that winning is not super important to me or required, but it is. You know, you want to do well. You want your decks to perform well. Wonder. All right, let's... What do I want to do? I think it's actually putting out the mountain and throwing off the play with fire. And then next turn, maybe getting that Hazoret onto the field. I don't need 2 more of them. I'll put 1 to the bottom. Yeah, I wonder how important is winning to you? Are you able to enjoy Magic the Gathering if you are not winning? I would love to know that. I would love to know what you think. Do you get salty when the games are not going your way, when you get some bad matchups or like the opponent getting land screwed? You know, obviously 10 cards in, 1 land, pretty rough. Nice. That's really good for the opponent. Okay. Not a lot I can do about that. They had the answer. Or like in my case, the opponent, even just the opponent having Witch's Oven and Cauldron Familiar almost invalidates a lot of my strategy. And I needed that silver bullet in the form of the cat, and they were able to get rid of it. So there's a very good chance that the opponent could actually come back from this. And that would feel real bad. I don't know how I'd feel about that. Like maybe I'd want to commend the opponent, be like, yeah, that's some good play. That's awesome that you were able to do that. But at the same time, no, not really. Like, I hate you. I hate Cauldron Familiar so much. There's nothing I can do about it. Rampaging Frostodon, however, is a pretty good way to deal with it. Okay, what I'm hoping is by putting out this, they're going to tap the Witch's Oven. Yes. Okay. And I'm going to be able to kill the goose with my Bone Crusher Giant. They're not going to... Oh, I forgot about that. I always forget about that over on the side if I leave it for a turn or two. Maybe I get a land. Okay. I don't think I've played a land. Okay. That's fine. So now they're cut off of mana once again. Phyrexian Tower's good. Might have another push, but Hazoret's going to start attacking soon. Hazoret can also start just flinging lands at them. It's really crazy that the opponent's able to hold on so effectively with 1 land. All because of, obviously, unintendedly overpowered interactions between these 2 cards. That's a little crazy, right? Yeah. And that... Yeah. I don't know if there's a way to win now. I would need another Rampaging Frostodon. That's insane. That this deck is able to perform...
I can't kill the Ravenous Squirrel because they sacrifice. It's going to be a 10-10 before you know it. So, I guess... And Hazoret's useless, actually. That's unbelievable. Okay. And they're going to gain so much life. I need to find a Rampaging Frostodon. Nothing. Wow. This is pretty good. Maybe a showcase of just how inherently better some strategies are compared to what other people are wanting to play or able to play. Obviously, John Food has been strong. It's been strong for a very long time. It's going to continue being strong. I don't see any way of them losing this. Hazoret's just going to get... I shouldn't even attack with Hazoret because the Ravenous Squirrel now has the ability to attack me. Yeah, I'm quite flustered by this because of the amount of life that they're going to be able to gain for literally no reason. The amount of counters they're going to be able to get on this Ravenous Squirrel for no reason. With 2 mana, simply because of this 2-card engine that shouldn't... I don't know, how does it... Every time I face it in one of these videos, it drives me absolutely batty. Good design. Oh, there are two. Actually, I'm dead now, right? I might be dead. Yeah, I'm dead. I shouldn't have attacked with a Hazoret. I shouldn't have. But come on, Wizards. Like, this is... You really want people to play your formats like this? The opponent was on 1 mana for the longest time. Oh, my mouth is feeling salty. Like, yeah. Give them the old hearts. They earned it. Well, I'm done with this game. Let's go to a wrap up. So, what did I learn from trying to build something a little bit different from the typical Burn archetype? Obviously, Burn's not that strong. It's maybe a tier 2.5 deck or whatever, because obviously they're playing a bunch of cards that are not 10 out of 10s, right? Static Discharge, Skewer the Critics, these Play with Fire and Shock, they're pretty fair cards. I think they're balanced cards. If it's a crazy idea, right? And unfortunately, Historic is just not a balanced format right now. I've read posts recently and talked to people recently that have been very disheartened with the format, and it's getting that way for me too. There's no room for creativity because, as I was saying in that last video, like winning is important. And if you're not winning, then having interesting back and forth games is kind of important. But when you're just constantly getting, for lack of a better word, shit on all the time, it starts to wear on you. And Historic is not a place for people to enjoy. Historic's a place where you play your premium above curve cards that are obvious inclusions into the deck. And that's all you do. If you want to strive from the norm, if you want to try to create something different or play something that is not in that upper echelon of accepted decks that are numerically better than every other deck in the format because they are playing numerically better cards than the cards that you're choosing to play with, you better accept that you're going to have a bad time. You're going to be on a 30 or 40% win rate, and it's just not friendly. It's not good for the health of the game. People want to try to build their own things. They want to try to strive away from the meta. And there's just no room for that right now. I don't know what can happen, but ever since the Mystical Archives were released, it feels like it was almost a year ago, I guess. I don't know. It's been a while. When did No, it was Strixhaven, right? It's been a while. Ever since the Mystical Archives released, it's felt that way. I was really enjoying Historic, and it's just felt like a really big uphill battle. I'm sure some people are enjoying it, but I have to imagine the majority of people that are playing Historic feel the pressures of the format. It's not fun. It's boring. It's stale. It's repetitive. It's not friendly to pretty much anything that anybody wants to do.
that is outside of the norm or the accepted meta. I don't know. I have no solutions. I just want to complain a little bit because I've been feeling this way about the game for the last little while. And obviously I've been making less videos. One of the reasons why I started making, fewer videos. One of the reasons I started making fewer videos was related to my personal life. I'm working more, so that's a thing. And I also want to start exploring other things. I've also been trying to enjoy other games. But a lot of that does stem from the fact that I'm not enjoying the game anymore. And I don't know what can possibly reignite that fuel for the game. I'll probably keep putting along, but holy moly, is it ever bad. There are decks, though, that I do enjoy, and I'm not really sure where I'm going with any of this. Maybe I should just go play Zombie Train, but Zombie Train was fun when it's working, but when you're running into somebody running main board, rest in peace, for no reason. Why are you playing rest in peace main board? I don't know. It's a thing. Let me know if you share the similar feelings for Historic as me, or maybe I just need to wipe away my salty ass tears and buckle up. Maybe I'll go look up one of those Jun lists. Wow. Yeah. Anyways, that's it for this week. Only 2 videos this week. That's going to be enough magic for me. I will enjoy editing them. That's one thing I do enjoy. That's one of the reasons I'm continuing to do all of this anyways. And I realize this has been a long ending rant. That's fine. If you're still around, I appreciate it. Thanks a lot. Take care for now. Enjoy your weekend. Try to get some good Magic games in. See you next time.